What's up, guys? I'm DK, and you're watching Pro Wrestling What If, the series where I look at the different what if scenarios as terms of the world that we call professional wrestling. John Cena's career has spanned 25 years, and through those years, WrestleMania has played a pivotal role in his career. He had won his first singles title by defeating The Big Show for the United States Championship at WrestleMania 20, and he won his first world title by defeating JBL for the WWE Championship the following year at WrestleMania 21. Although some of his matches were great, like his match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23, some weren't exactly the greatest, like the 3-minute squash against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 34. Now that John Cena is about to have his final WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 41 against Cody Rhodes, what would his career have been like had his WrestleMania matches been different? So that's going to be the topic of today's video. We're discussing what if every John Cena WrestleMania match was different. And we'll be going through every single WrestleMania that John Cena had participated in, starting off with WrestleMania 20 up until the upcoming WrestleMania 41 event. But I'm going to add a little bit of a bonus by also including the WrestleManias that he wasn't a part of. And if you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share this to all your friends, subscribe, and press the notification bell for when future episodes get released. And leave a comment down below about today's topic or suggesting a future topic for an episode of Pro Wrestling What If. Which, starting off with the first WrestleMania that had happened since joining the company, was WrestleMania 19. Although John Cena was a part of WrestleMania 19, he wasn't involved in a match, but was in a segment where he did a rap battle with cardboard cutouts of Jay-Z and Fabulous. Had he had a match on the show, which likely would have been a part of Sunday Night Heat due to the stacked card, there's two options. First option, and the most likely one, would be a singles match against Rikishi. John Cena and Rikishi had worked numerous times on house shows and TV on the road to WrestleMania, and it seemed they would have had faced each other at WrestleMania. A match where I think John Cena would have won, since he was placed the following month at Backlash to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. The other option would be teaming up with his enforcer Red Dog, who would later be sent to Raw and repackaged as Rodney Mack and be placed into the Tag Team Championship match had certain circumstances had occurred. When Kurt Angle had broken his neck at No Way Out, the original plans were to have Angle drop the title to Brock Lesnar on the SmackDown before WrestleMania and have Chris Benoit challenge Lesnar for the WWE Championship instead. This would mean that Chris Benoit and Rhino wouldn't have been a part of the tag team match, and for that spot to be open, that could be given to John Cena and Red Dog. Now going to the first match he had at WrestleMania in the real timeline, which was WrestleMania 20, which he had challenged Big Show for the United States Championship, but had he not had that match, I think it would have been John Cena versus Rhino. Once again, with how stacked this WrestleMania was, it's likely that this match would have been added as a pre-show or Sunday Night Heat type of match. John Cena and Rhino had worked various house show matches during the road to WrestleMania 20, like I had mentioned with Rikishi the prior year. I would see Hardcore Holly in this case be the one to challenge Big Show for the United States Championship, since he had that WWE Championship match against Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble a couple months prior. Big Show was going to have knee surgery shortly after WrestleMania 20, so either Holly would win the title at the event, or Big Show retains and would drop it to John Cena on the SmackDown after WrestleMania 20. WrestleMania 21, his original match was against JBL for the WWE Championship, but had it not been that match, I think it would have been John Cena and Orlando Jordan for the United States Championship. When John Cena had won the #1 contender match at No Way Out against Kurt Angle, he was still the United States Champion. Orlando Jordan had ended up winning the United States Championship from John Cena on the March 1st, 2005 episode of SmackDown. Around this time, there were rumors of JBL going to have a different opponent for WrestleMania 21 instead of John Cena, which could be a reason why a match against Orlando Jordan would make sense. So if that were to be the case, it's likely that John Cena would walk into WrestleMania 21 as the United States Champion and end up dropping it to Orlando Jordan, so John Cena could then go after the WWE Championship like he did in the real timeline, but delayed to Judgment Day 2005 for him to win the WWE Championship. WrestleMania 22, his original match was defending the WWE Championship against Triple H, but now the new match in this case would be John Cena versus Edge for the WWE Championship. Edge had cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase at New Year's Revolution 2006 and successfully became the new WWE Champion. However, Edge's reign only lasted a few weeks as he would drop it at Royal Rumble, where John Cena had won back the championship. Many people had wished that we had gotten the one-on-one match between John Cena and Edge at this event, as Edge had pretty much cemented himself as the top heel of the company at the time. The match they had at Royal Rumble could have had Edge retain the title in controversial fashion, and John Cena would then get another opportunity for the title at WrestleMania, or if John Cena were to still win back the title at Royal Rumble, the rematch between the two would take place at WrestleMania instead of the February 16, 2006 episode of Raw, with Cena still walking out as WWE Champion, the same match that ended up setting up Edge versus Mick Foley for that event. WrestleMania 23, John Cena had defended the WWE Championship against Shawn Michaels, but had that match not happened, I think John Cena would have defended the WWE Championship against The Undertaker. Before Shawn Michaels became John Cena's opponent, the original plan was to have the rematch from the prior year's WrestleMania between John Cena and Triple H. However, Triple H tore his quad during a tag match with Shawn Michaels against Rated RKO at New Year's Revolution 2007 and wouldn't be cleared to compete in time for WrestleMania 23. So in a world where Triple H is still unable to compete and Shawn Michaels not being John Cena's opponent, I think that they would have had the 2007 Royal Rumble winner Undertaker in that position. Undertaker would be walking out as the new WWE Champion and extend the streak to 15-0, even though this would mean that the Undertaker would be walking around with essentially a toy in the form of the spinner title instead of an actual good-looking championship like the big gold title in the real timeline. WrestleMania 24. His match was a triple threat match against Triple H and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, but had that match not happened, I think it would have been John Cena versus Batista in the battle for brand supremacy. When John Cena injured his pectoral muscle in 2007, the plans were to finally get a singles match between Randy Orton and Triple H at WrestleMania, which they had tried doing for WrestleMania 21 a few years prior. However, with John Cena returning earlier than expected, WWE capitalized on that by having him win the Royal Rumble match instead of Triple H, who was penciled in to set up his match with Randy Orton. John Cena would end up getting that WrestleMania title opportunity early by facing Randy Orton for the WWE Championship at No Way Out in a match where John Cena had won via a disqualification, thus allowing Randy Orton to retain the championship but not having John Cena lose the match. I think in a world where John Cena didn't get injured, he wouldn't have been involved in the WWE Championship match as he was already in that title scene for over a year at that point. Even with the Royal Rumble win, this could be a scenario where John Cena lost the match on Raw against Randy Orton, where Triple H was the special guest referee, with Triple H already having won an Elimination Chamber match to get the WrestleMania title opportunity. We had gotten John Cena versus Batista at SummerSlam later on in the year, but I do think that this would have been discussed for WrestleMania before Cena's injury, a match where I think John Cena would have won, unlike the match against Batista at SummerSlam 2008. WrestleMania 25. His match was a triple threat match against Big Show and Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now this one is kind of cheating in a way because it's kind of the same match but not, and that is just having John Cena versus Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship. After Batista had torn his hamstring and was going to miss WrestleMania 25 due to needing surgery, the plan was to finally have the singles match between Edge and John Cena that we all wanted to happen at WrestleMania 22. And this was set up with Edge having lost the WWE Championship earlier in the night and then taking Kofi Kingston's spot and winning the World Heavyweight Championship in another Elimination Chamber match at the end of the night. I'm sure a lot of us were disappointed that Big Show got inserted into the match to make it a triple threat match, but the reason that that happened was because John Cena himself made that happen. Big Show was actually not scheduled to be on WrestleMania 25 until John Cena convinced management to put him in his match so he doesn't miss out on being a part of the show. So basically the moral of this is, if John Cena was a then Big Show wouldn't have been a part of this match and we would have had John Cena versus Edge at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 26, his match was against Batista for the WWE Championship, but I think this new match would have ended up being Sheamus versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. It's hard to imagine John Cena and Batista not facing each other here, considering they had tried making this match happen the last year or two prior for WrestleMania. In the case that the match still isn't able to happen, it just seems logical that John Cena would still win the WWE WWE Championship inside the Elimination Chamber, but eliminates Sheamus to do so instead of Triple H, considering the driving point of getting Triple H versus Sheamus at WrestleMania 26 was due to Triple H eliminating Sheamus in the Elimination Chamber match. So instead of having Batista randomly get a match after John Cena wins and becomes the champion, that would get scrapped and Sheamus would get his title rematch against John Cena at WrestleMania 26, culminating the feud between the two that basically began when Sheamus won the title at TLC, and we would have John Cena retain the championship at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 27, his match was against The Miz for the WWE Championship, but I think the new match would end up being John Cena versus CM Punk. WrestleMania 27 is regarded as one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, and part of that was a terrible main event between John Cena and The Miz for the WWE Championship. Now, I'm sure a lot of people wish that John Cena versus CM Punk was a match that happened at WrestleMania 27, but in this case, I don't think the WWE Championship would be involved. John Cena would simply switch spots with Randy Orton, where Orton ends up winning the Elimination Chamber match and goes on to face The Miz. The story behind Punk and Cena would make sense due to John Cena's past ties with the Nexus and Punk wanting to finish the job that Wade Barrett couldn't since he's the new leader. Having this match not for the title would make sense also in case the plans were to still set up the once-in-a-lifetime match between John Cena and The Rock the following year, allowing The Rock to still cost John Cena the match against CM Punk in this case, and Punk would pick up the victory without having to put a title on him to do so like The Miz. WrestleMania 28, the original match was John Cena versus The Rock in the once-in-a-lifetime match, but had it not been that match, I think it would have been John Cena versus CM Punk, this time for the WWE Championship. Rumors were circulating near the end of 2011 going into 2012 of a storyline idea where John Cena would win the 2012 Royal Rumble match and would have to decide whether he would get his title match or give up the opportunity to still get his once-in-a-lifetime match with The Rock. Now, in a scenario where that match doesn't happen, likely due to Rock's Hollywood schedule to prevent that from happening, then I think having him in the WWE Championship picture would make the most sense. Whether that be due to winning the Royal Rumble like I mentioned, or winning an Elimination Chamber match and getting the opportunity, CM Punk would have been John Cena's opponent in my opinion had it not been The Rock. If he had won the Royal Rumble, I don't think we would have had John Cena challenge Daniel Bryan for his World Heavyweight Championship. WrestleMania 29, the original match was now twice in a lifetime between John Cena and The Rock, this time for the WWE Championship. And now this is where I'm kind of gonna go backwards to what I mentioned with WrestleMania 25 by now making this the same match but adding CM Punk to be a triple threat match for the WWE Championship. Many people had wished that the now dubbed twice in a lifetime at WrestleMania 29 would have actually had CM Punk inserted into the match to make it a triple threat match. Having this triple threat match would have made once in a lifetime feel more special since it would have been the only time Cena and Rock faced off in a singles match. CM Punk could have been inserted had they had him defeat John Cena in that famous match they had on the February 25th, 2013 episode of Raw. Even though CM Punk would now be considered the #1 contender, John Cena would have found another way to get back into the match and thus making the triple threat match and having John Cena still walk out as the WWE champion. And this match would have finally had CM Punk be able to main event a WrestleMania, and perhaps he wouldn't have left the company a year later. The big question though is who would end up facing The Undertaker at the event if Punk was inserted into the match, considering that CM Punk versus Undertaker in my opinion ended up being the match of the night at WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 30, the original match was John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, but I think the new match would have ended up being John Cena versus The Undertaker. To celebrate the 30th WrestleMania event and having someone try and end The Undertaker's streak, it had to be someone with huge star power to face him, hence how it made sense to have Brock Lesnar be the one to challenge him at the event, especially with The Rock confirming that he was originally going to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30 had he not suffered the injuries he did during the match with John Cena at WrestleMania 29. This would mean that Undertaker is left without an opponent and John Cena would have been perfect to fill the slot. But unlike the real timeline though, I do think in this case that Undertaker would have continued the streak to 22-0 had he faced John Cena. WrestleMania 31, his original match was against Rusev for the United States Championship, but I think the new match would be John Cena versus Daniel Bryan. Now it's a little bit weird to think about a world where neither Daniel Bryan or John Cena would fight for and walk out with WWE's mid-card titles at this event. But if John Cena doesn't face Rusev at the event, I think having an opponent like Daniel Bryan with enough star power would be a suitable replacement. The story could be told where both men are without matches at WrestleMania. John Cena having lost to Rusev already at Fastlane without actually submitting to the accolade, and Daniel Bryan not being able to defeat Roman Reigns that same night and punch his ticket to a world title match at WrestleMania 31. This would be a showcase of two of WWE's biggest stars clashing it out at WrestleMania that would likely result in John Cena winning, so he gets a win over Bryan after having already lost to him back at SummerSlam 2013. WrestleMania 32, I think the match he would have had would be against The Undertaker. Now, John Cena had suffered a shoulder injury in 2016 and ended up not being medically cleared to compete at WrestleMania 32. Had he not gotten injured, it was planned for John Cena to face Undertaker at the event in what would have been Undertaker's retirement match in his home state of Texas. Hence why Undertaker had worked quite a bit near the end of 2015, as we got a little bit of a final run before he was going to hang up the boots. With John Cena's injury, this resulted in Undertaker facing Shane McMahon at the event inside Hell in a Cell, and this match didn't end up being his retirement match. WrestleMania 33, he had competed in a mixed tag team match with Nikki Bella against The Miz and Maurice, but had it not been that match, I think it would have been Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. Just like Edge, Randy Orton had been someone that people wished he had a WrestleMania singles match with John Cena at some point. Randy Orton had won the Royal Rumble that year and had said to John Cena that if he won the Elimination Chamber match, that he would go after his WWE Championship. Instead of Bray Wyatt winning the Elimination Chamber match, it would be John Cena retaining the WWE Championship for this match to happen. Randy Orton, just like in the real timeline with Bray Wyatt, would walk out as the new WWE Champion, especially since John Cena would be leaving for Hollywood after the event anyways. WrestleMania 34, John Cena had faced The Undertaker, but had it not been that match, it would have been John Cena versus Elias. During the road to WrestleMania 34, John Cena was struggling to get a spot on the card. He would fail to win the Royal Rumble to get an automatic WrestleMania title opportunity, he failed to win the Elimination Chamber match to face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, and he would fail to win the WWE Championship in the six-pack challenge at Fastlane, leading to John Cena wanting to challenge The Undertaker at the event so he would get a match on the card of WrestleMania. John Cena during the show would have a segment with Elias, so if the case was that Undertaker didn't show up, he probably would have had an impromptu match with Elias, which would have John Cena squash Elias just like Undertaker squashed Cena at the event. WrestleMania 35, I think his match would have been against Samoa Joe for the United States Championship. He had brought back the Dr. Thugonomics gimmick in a segment where he had interrupted Elias's concert. Originally, John Cena was rumored to face Lars Sullivan at the event before Sullivan has suffered an anxiety attack the night he was going to make his main roster debut and set up the feud with Cena. Samoa Joe had won the United States Championship from R-Truth on the March 5th, 2019 episode of SmackDown, and it seemed the seeds were planted for a Cena versus Joe match to happen, with Joe even referencing John Cena in a backstage interview following his title win. And it was rumored that the two were going to face at WrestleMania 34 the year prior before Samoa Joe had got injured and missed the event. This match would have likely had Joe retain the title due to John Cena's Hollywood commitments, but I can assure you that the match would have been longer than the 58-second match with Rey Mysterio he had in the real timeline. WrestleMania 36, he had faced The Fiend Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse match, but had it not been that match, it would have been John Cena versus Elias. The idea behind this match was due to having the segments 2 years straight between the two that would finally have a match the following year. This was also discussed when it was originally planned to have Roman Reigns face The Fiend Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 36 until they pivoted to wanting Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, leaving Wyatt without an opponent at the event. I guess this was for the best because if we had John Cena versus Elias, this would mean that we would never witness the Firefly Funhouse cinematic match that was regarded as one of the biggest highlights to what became a WrestleMania with no fans in the audience. Shoutout goes to Jackson Weingart, Jada Sanchez, Fox Starkiller, Lola Pines, Hayden Saravo, and Mr. Randomizer. And the reason that they ended up getting a shoutout is because they joined our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month. Not only do you get the shoutout, but you do get lots of other perks, including early access to every single video and shorts that we produce on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It will be greatly appreciated and it will go a long fun way of helping out this channel a lot, so definitely consider it, but let's get right back to the video. Now for the next few WrestleManias, it was very difficult to come up with things because John Cena was barely there. So I do think this is where fantasy booking really comes to play, since I don't really have anything to back up these claims. So I think for WrestleMania 37, he would challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. So this was a WrestleMania John Cena not only didn't compete on, but was the first WrestleMania he wasn't a part of at all in any capacity since joining WWE. This was mainly due to pandemic restrictions, where since he was filming Peacemaker in Canada, had he been a part of the event, he would have had to quarantine for 2 weeks upon returning to set, thus delaying production. In a world where John Cena wasn't filming Peacemaker until perhaps after WrestleMania 37, the only match I could think of is him trying to go after his 17th World Championship by facing Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship as Reigns begins the run as the Tribal Chief. In the real timeline, they had a match against each other at SummerSlam 2021, but if John Cena was able to be at WrestleMania 37, I think the match would have happened here instead. And just like the match they had at SummerSlam, the Tribal Chief would continue his reign as John Cena would then have Hollywood commitments after the event. And for WrestleMania 38, John Cena would be going after the WWE Championship against Bobby Lashley. John Cena had faced Bobby Lashley only one time in singles competition, which was for Cena's WWE Championship at the Great American Bash 2007. Had John Cena got a title match at WrestleMania 38, this would mean that they wouldn't have gone ahead and made the Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns match for both the WWE and Universal Championships. That match would just be for the Universal Championship, since Lesnar had won the Royal Rumble already and could get into that match. Brock Lesnar wouldn't participate in the Elimination Chamber match, and thus would allow for Bobby Lashley to retain and walk into WrestleMania 38 as the WWE Champion. Once again, just like the prior WrestleMania, John Cena wouldn't walk out as champion due to his Hollywood commitments. WrestleMania 39, John Cena had challenged Austin Theory for the United States Championship, but in this case, I think we would have gotten John Cena versus Logan Paul. There were rumors circulating around this time of a potential John Cena versus Logan Paul match at the event. For this match to happen, Seth Rollins would be the one to win the Elimination Chamber match the month prior and become the brand new United States Champion, thus having the now former champion Austin Theory get his rematch at WrestleMania 39 against Seth Rollins, while John Cena and Logan Paul would face each other in a match where I do think John Cena would walk out victorious. For WrestleMania 40, I think the match he would have had would be against Solo Sikoa. With how absolutely stacked both nights of WrestleMania 40 were, it's a bit difficult to slide John Cena into any of the matches that were on the show. But since both John Cena and Solo Sikoa were involved in the Bloodline Rules, another match between the two would make sense, as it would have been their rematch from their Crown Jewel 2023 match where Solo Sikoa had picked up the victory. But this time at WrestleMania 40, it would have been John Cena to get the victory instead. And last but not least is WrestleMania 41, in which the currently planned match as I'm recording this is John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. And now, had it not been that match, I think it would have been John Cena versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this idea would be based on the Royal Rumble winner Jey Uso deciding on wanting to challenge Cody Rhodes instead of Gunther at WrestleMania 41. Of course, this means that John Cena wouldn't have turned heel at Elimination Chamber after winning the match, as he'd be feuding with Gunther. This was something I was hoping was going to happen when doing my initial booking of John Cena's retirement tour video. However, things have drastically taken a turn since then. I feel what would have happened at WrestleMania 41 with Gunther would be completely different to what I think will happen with Cody Rhodes. And if you want to know what I think about that certain match, stay tuned in a few weeks when I do the PLE Predictions What If video.